Hi, I thought now would be a good time, given that the year's almost over, to talk about my, recap of 2021 and what my goals and dreams are for 2022. There is absolutely no way that I would have just remembered all of this, so I actually wrote some notes down. But I got a lot done this year, and the last few months it's been really easy to feel like I haven't gotten as much done as I really wanted to. But going back and taking the time to kind of write down everything I did accomplish has really made me feel a lot better about the year and about, everything that I've accomplished. So the very first thing that I really did in 2021 was I started some author platform social media accounts. So this was my Twitter and my Instagram for the most part. And, I think it really helped me to kind of engage with that community and kind of get the ball rolling on being more productive, being more consistent. So I think that was really good. I wrote down, I don't really care that much about my follower number. It's more about the community and everything. But I think growth is a metric you can use to see if you're, putting out content that people are enjoying, if you're getting engagement, if you're, and for me, that kind of tends to be a reflection of how much time I'm spending on it and how much I'm enjoying doing it, because I tend to not spend as much time if, my approach isn't something that I'm enjoying doing. So it's sort of a way for me to be able to tell okay, am I actually doing this in a way where I'm getting something out of it and I'm enjoying it and I'm engaging with the community. So at the end of the year, and since I just started these accounts this year, all of these followers I gained this year. So on Instagram, I have 583 followers, and on Twitter, I have 1,665 followers. So I kind of took a note of that so that next year I can sort of reflect and see, how much have I grown over the last year? The next thing I did was I created my website, my blog, and my newsletter, just kind of all in one place. And I haven't really done that much with them this year, but they exist, so I count that as a win. Then my biggest accomplishment of the year was that I finished my first draft for my blood magic project. And I have been spending, 4 years before this working on it, but it was mostly world building, long breaks, little bits of scene writing here or there, but I wasn't really devoting a lot of consistent time to this, where this year I went from probably like 10,000 words to 135,000 words, which is a lot. So that's, my big accomplishment of the year, I think. And the one goal I did have for 2021, way back before I was really making specific goals, was to finish my first draft this year. And I blew that out of the water, so I won my 2021 goals, I guess. So then I started the world building, map making, coming up with the ideas for my next project, which I'm calling my Magic Forged project. I've also started outlining, doing character creation, that sort of stuff. So that was a good bit of progress and a lot of creative focus there that I did. I finished the revision guide and started on the developmental revisions for my blood magic project too. And I think an important lesson that I'm kind of trying to keep in mind going forward is that things like family time, me time, just general stuff I need to do to de-stress, other things in my life. And then an important lesson that I'm trying to really focus on right now is that there are a lot more things that I can get done and still be productive than just writing and working on writing projects in my platform and that sort of thing. Because spending time with my family is accomplishing something. Doing stuff around the house is accomplishing something. Taking time for me to stay unstressed and make it so that I'm still capable of writing and putting what I need to put into my work, like that all counts. And trying to remember that is hard for me, but that's kind of what I'm focusing on. So kind of in the spirit of that, I'm going to put together some photos of things that I did this year, things I accomplished this year that don't have to do with writing, don't have to do with those big kind of goals that I set for myself. Just to kind of go through the experience of really acknowledging everything that I did. Because I did a lot this year. I had a baby this year, it's still been COVID. I'm sure I did other stuff other than having for a baby. I don't know. But I'll put a slideshow here now. Let's see what I did in 2021. on to my 2020 goals, I'm gonna break this into like 3 sections, I think. My writerly or bookish goals, my platform goals, and personal goals, because there's more in our lives other than, books and writing, I think. Okay, so for writerly bookish goals. First, I really want to get some of the books off my TBR. I keep picking up new books, and this is partially because I am such like a mood reader. Like, I will be in the mood for a specific type of book, and I will just hunt for it, which typically means I end up getting it on Kindle because it's, instant need gratification, and then I binge read it, and I want to try to break that a little bit this year. I have a lot of books on my TBR that I really want to read. I have a lot of books that I have physical copies of them that I really want to read. So I'm not setting like a specific like book goal, but I just want to read some of the books off my physical TBR. So books that I have right now on my shelves. So that's the first goal. So then my next goal for my Blood Magic project, which this is going to be the hardest goal, I want to finish revisions this year. And this has been my goal since I finished, the first draft. But it takes a lot longer than you think, and I've been pushing myself a little bit too hard in December where I haven't really been able to get much done. So I'm really hoping that I can manage to finish the revisions this year. The next thing is, while I'm kind of taking breaks on my Blood Magic project, or while it's with beta readers or critique partners or whatever, I want to finish about 50% of the first draft of my Magic Forge project, which means I also need to finish outlining and character creating and world building and doing all that kind of stuff. And if I do really, really good, it'd be nice to get like 75 or 80% of the way through that, but I would be more than happy with 50%. And then my last writerly goal, I guess, is I really want to go to a writer's convention. I think it would just be super fun, and it's okay if it's an online one, virtually, or if it's in person. I'd love to go to an in-person one, but with 2 small kids and a pandemic going on, I'm not going to force that. I want to grow on Twitter and Instagram. I don't really care how much, but this basically means I want to continue producing content consistently that I enjoy creating that, allows me to grow a little bit. I'm not trying to push it. I'm not trying to prioritize content that's going to get me the biggest, the biggest following, the biggest engagement, but I want to kind of do, steady, slow growth. I just started YouTube a couple months ago, and I am at 126 followers right now. My goal for 2022 for YouTube would be to continue to post consistently, hopefully averaging about 1 video a week. And then I'd like to grow to maybe 500 followers would be my goal. I think that would be doable and not pushing. And I mean, I feel like with the writer community, you kind of have to build those relationships with people and kind of become a part of the community. Like, it's not just like you throw a ton of content out there and people watch it. Like, you actually have to build relationships with your viewers. At least that's how I think. So I think that, 500 followers is going to be a reasonable goal there. So then my personal goals are going to kind of go back to what I was saying, where I'm trying to remember that other things count towards being productive other than just, big to-do list kind of things and writing goals. I really want to prioritize my fitness, my wellness, and nutrition. I do have a coach right now that I'm working with to kind of follow macros and get movement in and do exercises that help. And I really, really want to continue doing that. And I guess my goal by the end of 2022 would be to still be consistently getting movement in. Maybe I'll be doing like intuitive eating at that point where I kind of know how much protein and carbs and stuff is in food and can kind of make sure I'm getting the food I really need to fuel my body and not, eating the wrong things. I don't want to be doing that. I want to be eating the right things. I want to be eating enough food. I want to be getting movement and exercises in and keeping my body strong enough to reduce the amount of pain and like autoimmune flare-ups that I have. So that's probably my big goal there. And these next 2 kind of tie back into that, but I also want to reduce my stress levels. I had a moment this month where I was talking to my fitness coach and I was like, these are, where I am with my stress levels, because I have to kind of report that every week, like on a 1 to 10 scale. And it's like, oh, I'm at a 2, I'm at a 5, I'm at a 6. And then, I've had some conversations with her where I break down sort of how I'm feeling, what I'm stressed about, ways I can help reduce my stress and stuff. And it was kind of pointed out to me that I don't really properly understand what my stress levels are. I'm saying it's like a 5 or a 6. And she's like, yeah, no, you're at like a 10. You're extremely stressed out. You're just so used to being stressed out constantly every day that I'm biased where I don't really know how stressed I am because I'm always stressed. So kind of that realization has been eye-opening for me, and so I'm really trying to keep that in mind and be aware of my stress levels and try and establish a baseline where I still get stressed sometimes, but most of the time, or at least some of the time, I am not stressed, which would be cool. And I think that'll really work well, especially if I'm focusing on, fitness and wellness and all that, because when I have an autoimmune flare-up, I don't handle stress well. It also stresses me out. My productivity tanks, I don't feel good, I injure myself more, I'm in pain. So it's really, really difficult times for me when that happens, and it's been happening pretty often. So if I can kind of reduce that, kind of be healthier, stay, less stressed, and find a balance between being productive and doing things that, help me be calmer and more relaxed. Because I get the most done if I spend, half my time writing or something else that brings me joy but is productive, and then the other half of the time kind of just chilling. Because it doesn't work for me when I start to feel like, oh, I have like these deadlines, I really need to hit these goals, I need to push myself. Because then when I do spend time relaxing, I stress that I'm not doing the things I need to do, that my goals are falling apart, and I feel guilty. And that doesn't allow me to actually get any stress relief out of my stress relieving activities. And then, that just sort of builds up until I'm so stressed that I can't do anything productive, and I can't do anything that's not productive, because then I'm even more stressed that I'm not doing something productive, and it's not great. So that's kind of what I'm working on this year. And then like one last thing tying into all of that is just to prioritize spending time with my family and, with my kids especially. They're getting to the age where like we can kind of do activities with them more. We can take them places more. My son is a little over 2.5. My daughter is 8 months old. Like they can, like, he really enjoys going to the aquarium. They would enjoy going to the zoo. We can sit down and play like memory games with my son and, actually like play with him in a way that's more engaging, I guess. So I want to make sure that I am taking the time to do those things, enjoying those things, and reminding myself that that counts as being productive. And that's not wasting time, but like it's productive. It's helpful. It's good. I should be happy with having accomplished a ton of that, even if I don't get the other things on my to-do list that I think I really need to get done, like cleaning or hitting a certain word count or something like that. Like, my family comes first. They're my top priority. And, I'm up there too. Taking care of myself needs to be a top priority too. And if I can manage all of those things, I am actually going to be able to write and get a hell of a lot more done than I would otherwise. So balance is, the way to go. I would really love to know what your goals are for 2022, and if there's anything in particular you're hoping to get done or anything that you're working on. Let me know in the comments below and we can talk about it, because, everyone's on their own journey right now, and I think there's a lot that we can learn from each other just by the things that, everyone is working on and stuff like that. So, let me know if you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.